I will put some items in the chat, helpful links for VineSkills website. Here at VineSkills, we are a month-to-month service. So we help folks not only get launched into Filevine and its related products, but also help folks that are already in those products make them work better for you. That includes the AI features, really honing in on how you all can utilize them. We do a lot of consulting work through our optimization services to not just explain the features, but also, again, work with you to figure out how they'll work best for your firm or business. Um, so I will again post those links to our website in our chat. So if any of you are interested in engaging in any of our services, you can reach out. I will also put my email as well as Kendall's email so that again, if you do have any questions or need to reach out to us, we can go ahead and direct you to the correct people or answer those questions for you. We are recording this session and it will be up on our website by the end of the week. So if you all have to leave early, or if you're like, this was amazing, Kendall is a guru in all things Filevine AI and other AI platforms as well, and everybody in my office needs to see this, you can direct them to those videos. I'll include a link to where you can find those videos. And as always, here at VineSkills, we do free help every Wednesday, same day, same time. The topics do vary, so you can view our website to kind of see any topics that are coming up in the future that you may want to join. And if you have suggestions about topics that you would like to see, please feel free to reach out so that we can get those added to our list. These sessions are designed to help you all navigate Filevine, the Filevine ecosystem, and also kind of see how other folks are utilizing Filevine's products. My name is Jasmine Knighton. I am one of the optimizers here. I should have started with that, so my apologies. I help folks get launched into Filevine as well as FVDA. I mostly take small launch clients, but I also help to bring you all free help every Wednesday with the help of my lovely colleagues like Kendall. I will let her introduce herself and then take it away since we're already recording.
Perfect. Thanks, Jasmine. I'm so excited to be talking about AI. I love Filevine's AI. I love everything AI related, but specifically, I want to talk about a few of Filevine's AI features. There are many AI features now that Filevine has, but I'm specifically going to be focusing on AI fields, AI data mapping, and I want to really dive into AI doc review with regard to creating custom prompts. And I want to talk more about chat with your case features and everything that goes on in there. Um,
People have questions. Sorry, I forgot to mention. Use the Q&A feature down at the bottom and we can get those answered for you in real time.
Perfect. Thank you. So I get a lot of questions from firms about, we have these AI tools now and nobody knows how to use them, or we don't know where they're at, or, how do I get my team to get buy-in for all of this? So those are the kind of the issues I want to kind of tackle here today. But first, I want to start out with AI fields. So I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to just briefly kind of cover AI fields and AI data mapping just because there's many resources about these, and I want to talk about the more nuanced things. So AI fields, they are fields that are built into your template. When you upload a document, it then gives you an output with regard to the fields that are built out. These automatically run the second you upload those documents. So that's how they're built-in fields. So if I upload one document, it's going to run all of these outputs for me. Then, specifically with regard to the medical chronology field, what this one will do is it'll create what we call the AI data mapping. So if I expand this one a little bit further, you'll see here my output gives me reference data service provider. Mind you, I do actually want to kind of preface this with all of the records that I'm using. I used ChatGPT to create pretend medical records for my dog. Therefore, you'll see that it says not specified for a lot of these things just because it's pretty like lame fake data. But I do also want to highlight that this is a really good thing that it's saying not specified here because of the fact that I don't want this to just randomly create things. I don't want it to pretend like it knows that who the, provider is, who the subject, what the subjective is, what have you. I like that it's saying not specified. Regardless, everything before the colon are going to be created as fields within the AI data map. So I upload my record, it then creates a medical chronology, and then over here, it will automatically create my data map based on that record upload. So when I click into this, I didn't have to do anything. All I did was upload my record, and then the medical chronology was the output, and then it gave me these as fields specifically. Another cool feature with regard to the AI data mapping is it is a standard collection section like you're probably very used to. You can create a collection export report that you, instead of having all of these fields here, you can create your own report if you want to export this in Excel. So I just kind of wanted to talk about those features a little bit more because I wanted to dive into the bigger features, which are AI doc review, specifically the custom prompting and chat with your case. So AI doc review lives in the document section. AI doc review works similarly to AI fields. However, AI fields, like I said, you upload it and you can have, I think there's about 12 prompts that are under medical records. So you upload the record, it runs automatically, and you can have multiple outputs for that one record. AI doc review, you can only take one document and have it run one analysis. So something else I want to highlight is this AI document prompts that Filevine has in their support page. I will paste this in the chat. I see there are some questions. There's not questions, that's Jasmine stuff here. I'm going to paste this here. I live off of this document. Whenever I'm thinking about a prompt that I want to use, I live and breathe this document here. It just helps me kind of see what document types there are, analysis types, and the description of it. Filevine does update this when they add more prompts. So I really reference this a lot. I say that because it also helps me with AI doc review. So in AI doc review, if I click a document, so let's choose medical records. The first thing that is important that you need to know is the document has to OCR first. And you may or may not know, OCRing is essentially Filevine reading the document and its contents. That happens the second you upload a document to Filevine. Once it goes through the OCR process and it's complete, if you have AI turned on in your Filevine, you'll see what I always coin as these sprinkle sparkles. I think they're just sparkles. I always call them sprinkles. So when you see these sprinkle sparkles, you know that your document has OCR'd and you do have AI turned on in your Filevine. So when I click this, I'll talk about the writing a custom prompt shortly, but you'll see here that all of these Filevine prompts are the same exact ones that are one, listed under the AI fields in the back end, the same exact prompt types or document types, and then also they're all listed here. So if I choose medicals, when I choose that, it'll give me just all of the medical analysis type options. So if I want to do, just do a medical summary. Here I can choose it as a Word doc or a PDF. I will name it AI analysis. And now I also can't type whenever I am live on calls, so forgive me. AI analysis, I honestly recommend being consistent with your naming convention, but I'll do AI analysis of this record. Perfect. And I'm going to put the folder I want it to be in, if I want it to be in a folder, and then submit. Then it's going to run. So that was the OG way of how AI Doc Review was released. You have all of these pre-configured prompts to choose from, and it'll run on a one document upload process. So I can't choose multiple documents and run it against an AI. It just doesn't work that way in AI Doc Review. Now, the cooler feature that was released, I don't know when, but released after that kind of rendition of it, is writing a custom prompt. This is where I get the fear of, oh my gosh, prompting. I have no idea what that means, how to use it. Teams that want their teams to use prompting in Filevine don't know how to get the buy-in. So I want to talk about ways to kind of make it easier and ways to start. So if I choose, let's just choose another document here. Let's choose this additional medical records. Again, my sprinkle sparkles, I'll go to this. And now it says write a custom prompt. When I click write a custom prompt, my suggestion here is think about what you want from this document, right? So I have a few suggestions written down in my notes here. So I'm going to put a prompt in of turn this into bullet points so I can paste it in case notes. Or it can be summarize this for an attorney. Just think about what you want out of the document, okay? Let's say you think this is a really, really good prompt for the entire team to use. For people who don't know how to start or any good prompts, you think this is a great one. It's worked really well for you. You want to save that prompt for your org. So pretending we've tested this one out, it's a great one. We click Save Prompt. Here it's going to ask you the document type. So how does it fit within this? So we're going to do medical. And then it's going to ask for a name. So we're just going to put bullet points of records. Sure. I'll just paste that same thing for the description. And then down here, you'll click Share with your org. When I click Save, I'm going to click Next. Again, same screen as before, PDF or Word doc. We're going to choose PDF. And then here I can just put bullet points of let me do AI. It might help too with regard to the AI output because you can just freely write the file name. Having AI in front of it, that way, at least when you open that document, it's an AI analysis. I'm just going to put this in my general documents here. And then, so what it's doing now is it's now running that AI analysis based off of that custom prompt that I did. So if you have anybody in your firm that you would consider an AI guru or just somebody who likes playing with AI and prompting, this would be a really good place to utilize them as a resource as to creating just standard custom prompts for everybody who just doesn't even know where to start in AI. So while I let that run, I did save a few others. Oh, actually, so when I come up here to my Sprinkle Sparkles again, you'll see saved prompts. So those are the ones that are saved across the org. And you'll see the list of those saved prompts that somebody in your org has saved for you. So I also have summarized like your briefing an attorney, medical document follow-up items here. So like I said, this is a really good place for if you're somebody who wants to get that buy-in from your firm about people using AI, start kind of workshopping some prompts that you think will really just benefit your org in particular. Um, yeah. So let's see if I have an output here. Perfect. So here is where I asked it, turn this into bullet points. I can paste into my case notes. Here are all your bullet points. So it did exactly what I wanted to do. And also just kind of be mindful that prompting takes practice. I don't know if anybody has seen the LinkedIn post about me stunting and it taking reps. That's what prompting is. It takes reps. Think about what you want it to do or the result that you want and try and workshop that question. Um, this kind of prompting will apply a lot more in chat with your case. You can experiment with it a little bit more. But if you want a little bit more of a straightforward result, I recommend having those good workshop prompts that you have it saved in your prompt library per se that can just run across your org.
Kendall, there's a question that came up. Do you have to manually run the prompt anytime you need the info, or will Filevine automatically run the selected prompt on certain document types every time you upload them?
Where do you see? Oh, there's the Q&A. Sorry, manually run the prompt anytime you need the info. Okay, so with AI fields, they're built-in fields that are in your Filevine. Those are pre-configured prompts all listed right here. So when I upload a document, if I have any of these fields built out, it'll automatically run these. AI doc review specifically is I have to click on that exact document that I want for the prompt to run against. I hope that answered your question. So nothing automatically runs except if it's an AI field. So the fields have to be built out for it to automatically run. In
And
AI,
then, Sorry, I was going to say the upload fields are designated with those little sparkles that Kendall's been talking about. So you'll see them in the actual section. If that field is tied to it, you'll see the sparkles next to the upload field and the output field. That'll be a visual indicator that that is one that is going to run automatically for you.
Yes, thank you. And also too, if you hover over the sprinkle sparkles here, you'll see which field it's connected to. So you'll see in my test project here, I also have AI fields turned on for bills down here. So if I upload my bills that were received, the output isn't going to be a medical chronology. It's going to be the extract estimated charges and extract charges because they're connected.
And Kendall, can you customize the AI fields or only choose from the present Filevine options?
Great question. So AI fields specifically, you could not do custom prompts for AI fields. You can choose from this list and you'll see this exact list on the back end. The only places that you can customize prompts are in AI Doc Review, at least currently, AI Doc Review and Chat with Your Case. So AI fields, they're pre-configured. AI Doc Review has those pre-configured options, but with the additional option of being able to do custom prompts.
Filevine does update that like set list. I know when they started, there was like what 15
Yeah.
options, and now there's 15 alone for like medical records.
Yeah.
So you go through and like create additional prompts. So this list, in a month or so might have some additional options on it.
Exactly. And that's why I say I live by this list. I always check this list out. Another cool thing too is they added this prompts by practice area just to give you some kind of suggestions and direction as to how these prompts can maybe fit in your practice area as well. So definitely always check out this list. I live in um, this website. Okay, so AI medical analysis of, did I do this one? Okay, this was the medical summary. So the pre-configured medical summary that was in there, I just ran this against that. The one that I created myself, the bullet point one, gave you this output.
You'll
So
note on those outputs, there are page numbers. Those page numbers correspond to the original document that it ran the analysis on. It's a reference for you, so that you know exactly where that data came from.
and a great way to kind of visualize this with AI fields is in AI fields, you'll see review AI result. When I click that, it gives me the source document and then the output on the left-hand side. Also, if you, let's say, for example, in this case, I have my original records I uploaded and then my additional records. You'll see in the side-by-side review that you can click from document to document here. But to Jasmine's point, yes, exactly. So these reference, it says page number. It'll bring you all the way down to that specific page number. Additionally, you can add your own source links. If you come up here, click edit, and then if you type it, if you click add source link, sure, page one, perfect. Save. This is an editable field as well, so you can add different notes in here if you find it applicable, and then want to add that source link connected to it. Perfect. I think that about covers everything with regard to the custom prompting in AI Doc Review. Like I said, my best practices suggestion for you really is if anybody plays around with prompting, or if you have somebody who's just really good at prompting, or if you just have really, really good ones that have worked for you, save those prompts so that everybody in your org can use and see them. That kind of helps with the where do I start? I don't even know what I want this to do questions, and also experiment with it. Think about what you want from that document and then experiment with prompting in that way and see what the output might be. Perfect. Now I'm going to move on to chat with your case. I think this is such a cool feature. I know Filevine is evolving it, growing it. Everything in Filevine with regard to their AI and just in general is evolving rapidly. They're improving it so much. And I think these advancements are just super, super helpful for every org. So chat with your case is going to be found within the sidebar up here. Here you'll see they actually just like kind of change the format of the sidebar here, and I love this kind of view a lot better. So here within sidebar, I can have a bunch of questions about my case. When I come into a specific case, it'll already know that I'm in this specific project. What'll automatically happen is you'll get this sidebar, I'm your assistant, blah, blah, blah. Now you have the option to ask it questions. These questions will run across the activity, all of the movement within the project and documents. So you can ask it any questions regarding this case specifically. So let's say I actually kind of want to start here with prompting, right? So prompting can be super difficult because you have to be specific, you have to kind of give it a tone, this, that, what have you. One recommendation I have just in AI in general is reverse engineering the idea of a prompt. So I don't know where to start. I have no idea what the heck to ask this thing. Ask it what can it do, right? So if I just say, what questions can, again, I can't type, you answer about this project? Asking it what it can do and also asking what it can't do. Okay. Because having that kind of context, it'll give you kind of a list here about questions that it can answer. So if I can also put what questions, I think I had this typed out actually in an example. Perfect. Write a list of questions you cannot answer about this project. Write a list of questions as questions I can ask you specifically about this project. So here I asked it, or I told it, write a list of it, right? So now it gave me a list of all the questions I can ask it. That is a good place for you to start. So you can copy one of these questions and then paste it and then get a response. That's what I mean by reverse engineering. Because I don't know where to start, ask it where it can start. I see we got a question for doc reviews. If you annotate the documents, will the AI recognize the annotation or edits when producing the outcome? That's a great question. I'm actually not sure, but that'd be interesting to kind of experiment with if you annotate that document and then have a prompt that kind of asks questions about that annotation. I think that would be an interesting prompt to experiment with. But that's a great question. So going back to sidebar. So like I said, I kind of start with where can you start and where can't you start? So I also asked it, write a list of questions you cannot answer. I want to know what can't I ask you about this? And here the output was um, the question that can't answer was the case number. Why? Because the litigation section doesn't have record of the case number. So I wanted it to have explanations. That's why I said explain why. So I think, like I said, for my rookies, for my people who just don't know where to start, asking it what can it do and what can't it do is a good place to start. Another fun thing within Chat with Your Case is asking it to, I like to draft emails per se. When I say draft emails, I say that very, very loosely. It cannot take the response and just put it in an email for you and send it out. That's not what it does. It's not an actionable item on the AI's end. It'll just write you a draft. So here I said act as a paralegal reviewing the file, write basically a status update to the client. And typically the responses that you'll get within Filevine's AI can be pretty robust and lengthy. So especially with, I guess really any AI, but Filevine's AI, make sure that you include words like brief or bullet points or make a short list if you don't want a super robust kind of response. Um, so I do not use specific details because I didn't want it to go into, these medical records happened and then this deposition happened and blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to include a few sentences so the client is happy and I can move on. You can also include tone. That's another thing, a huge just AI thing to do is including the tone. How do you want to come across in this email, in this kind of note, what have you? Here you can see I got something super simple and you see an email to the client. It knows that the client is Grizzly Bear. It's kind of exactly what I wanted, just a brief, here's a little update for you. And then best regards, Maple Syrupson, I think is the paralegal in this project. So it's saying it's from Maple Syrupson. Um, with this, I learned actually pretty recently that this little copy button at the bottom left of the response, if you copy it, at least in Gmail, if you copy this draft, like I said, this is a draft, it can't do the thing for you. If you click that little copy button and then paste it, it actually pastes it in the format of an email, not like this combined mess. So like it spaces after the hello grizzly bear and stuff. So I thought that was a pretty cool added feature as well. Um, is there any chat? No, there's not any chats. Okay, so another thing is list any medical providers mentioned in this case that we don't have records from. That is a classic paralegal question. What the heck medical records are we missing? Attorneys ask that as well. Here, it gave me a list of the records that were missing. So mind you, I also want to highlight that I have two medical providers listed in my medical section, but these providers might have been mentioned in my activity. So like I said, it's showing me that it's pulling from the activity going on in the case or any other sections that are here, not just the medical section. So because these medical providers are listed within the activity, it'll kind of notice, hey, they're not even in the medical section, nor do they have a date for when the records were received. So another cool feature about Chat with Your Case and is I can take this request right here. Now I know that there's an actionable thing I have to do. Somebody has to request these records. Up here, the check mark with the circle is adding a task. So if I check the context, the question that I asked, and then also the response, so now I know there's a list of medical providers that we need records for. I need someone to do it. I check off both of these. I click next. I need to assign it to somebody, so I'll assign it to myself. Give myself a date. And then you can write a message if you want to, like, please complete this or what have you. I'm not going to write a message, but when I add it as a task, it's going to come directly in the project as a task to whoever you assigned it to. So when I click into it, you'll see it's a message from sidebar. Kendall, I'm the one that asked the question. And then here's the response. And then I task the person to do the thing. So I think it's like super, super helpful to create those, questions that you're always asking yourself within a firm. What updates do we need? What's going on in this case? And then if there's any actionable things that have to be done based on that response, you can push it as a task to somebody. So I think that is a super great, helpful, and kind of unused feature actually. Okay, then I want to kind of focus this here. Okay, let me do this one. So, I want to talk about uploading documents within Chat with Your Case. So, Chat with Your Case, what it does is it reads the activity, everything going on within the project, the documents, the activity, everything, all the movement that's within the case. If you attach documents, so if I come down here and I attach a document from the project, you can choose the documents that currently live within the project, which is great. So if I choose one, so I chose this Dr. Paulson record. When I attach this, attaching a document kind of focuses the conversation a little bit more. Think about it like if you're in the office and the attorney pulls you aside and says, I want to talk about this document with you. You're not talking about the entire case, you're talking about this specific document. That's what attaching a document does. So here I said summarize the medical record like you're explaining it to a client. It gave me this output. That's super great. Now, where's my response? Here. I have a good example somewhere. Maybe this one. Okay, here. So summarize the medical record. So I attached my medical record here and it gave me this output. Then I asked it, what follow-up tasks should I do in this case? So now I'm asking a general question. I just want to know within this case, what do I have to do now? It's focusing my output on that kind of medical record realm. It still can read across the entire project, but its focus is on medical records now. So when I ask it that general question of what follow-up task should I do in this case, it's not going to give me the entirety of the case because now we're focused in, right? So a we do no doc task. Sorry, I thought I had these organized in a better way, and I guess I just don't. Okay, so now if I have a different thread where I don't have an attachment, what follow-up task should I do in this case? It gives me tasks outside of medical records. You see, confirm liability investigation status. It's now again reading across this entire project. So there's no like limitations or anything per se. My personal recommendation would be if you are attaching a document within a chat thread, be mindful that your following responses to questions you may have are kind of going to be focused in more on that attachment that you have in there. So I think the kind of best solution to this is ask your general questions about the case in one thread. And then if there's any specific documents you want to kind of chat about it with, have that in a separate thread. Um, I hope that makes sense. So kind of piggybacking off of that in a way is when I come into a project and then I click my sidebar, it's automatically going to pull the just generic I'm your AI assistant, blah, blah. It's just going to show me this. And then if I ask it a question like, what's the current status of the case? It's automatically going to name this chat thread the first question that I asked it. Like I said, I'm in this project. It already knows that I'm in this project. So it's going to give me the status here. Then to see all of my threads, I'm going to click this middle button. Here's where I see all of them. The hardest part, I think, is what the heck thread goes with what case, right? It's a little confusing to me. Um, so a way around that is to rename the chat thread itself. And to do that, you'd come up here and click the top where it created the name of the chat, and then have it just a naming convention that kind of makes sense to you. I might just name this one bear, comma, grizzly. And also right now, I don't know if it's today thing, but it's a little glitchy when I go to type. I'll just do bear, comma, G.
Kendall, there's a couple of questions. If you know that you saw something in a defense document production, but don't remember where, and there's too many files to manually attach in the chat of your case, what would be the best route to try getting the AI to help locate what they're looking for?
So maybe a question could be, you know, defense document production, but I don't remember where. So maybe you can ask a question like what documents were received for document production. Um, Mine wouldn't answer that really well right now because I don't have any document production from defense. But a question in chat with your case could be, give me a list of all the documents received from defense counsel, and then it can maybe list out all those documents. Trying to think of another
An
one.
search feature for documents. So not necessarily AI related, but if you remember a keyword, you can type that into the document search and it'll at least search through the documents that have that. You can locate the document and then, if you're using an AI prompt, you'll now know the title and can attach that easily to a sidebar item.
Absolutely, absolutely, for sure. With regard to AI, in the sense, AI Docker review wouldn't be the best solution for that because you have to choose one specific document to run a prompt against. So I think this is a great example of how to experiment with chat with your case. Ask those leading questions like what documents were received for document production. And then if you don't get the output that you're kind of looking for, expand on that question a little bit more. Another way to kind of work and kind of speak to AI is telling it to act as somebody. Um, I think in my email draft you saw that I said act as a paralegal. Let me see if I have that. Yep, act as a paralegal reviewing the case file. So then it kind of knows its role into like what it's going to be doing. Um, yeah, so I just recommend playing with that, asking the question, where can I find these? Do you have a list of it? I would think also too, just in terms outside of AI, if you guys have a document production folder within Filevine, that could also be helpful as well.
Awesome. And then is there a way to upload a document that's a video to the chat and be able to ask questions about it?
That's a great question. I haven't experimented with that yet. I don't have any kind of test videos to throw in here. I would love to know what that result output would be. If that's not a current feature, if it can't handle that, then I'm honestly positive that Fileline may add it as a feature down the line if feedback is received. So experiment with it. Awesome. Okay, so yes, so going back to like I said, now I have all these chats. There's so many. I've chatted about all these different cases. I don't know what case it's for. I just know that I've asked these questions. Naming conventions. So just go in and rename the thread. One little fun fact feature that you can do is you can add emojis. So in my demo chat, I think let me fact check myself here. The Mac feature is Control Command Space. Yes. So if I put sparkles, I can add emojis. So there is no save button also with changing the title. It would just save already. So if I go to my chats, you'll see my little sparkles right there. So another way to kind of clean up these chats are if you're done with this thread, you can just click resolve and it'll go away. I'll do that down here. Resolve. I say go away. It goes into if you see active, resolved, and all statuses, you'll see everything. So you'll see there's a ton of um, chats going on. Think that might be about it. Some kind of suggestions I have with regard to prompting. Really be specific about what you want. Okay. So what do you want out of if you upload a medical record? Specifically list, I want a bulleted list of anything I could be missing, or give me a list of follow-up items from this medical record. Be specific about what you want. Summarize this medical record is kind of like an outdated request. It's also a prompt within AI fields and AI doc review. Um, so be specific about how you're prompting and what you're prompting. Also give it a role. Like I said, act as a paralegal, act as an attorney, because then having that role in place kind of gives it a direction as to the response. It gives it clarity as to the response. Um, Trying to look at, I have some notes over here.
I do want to circle back while Kendall's looking at her notes. For the person who asked about uploading a video, right now, Filevine AI only reads through documents, not any other file type. So keep that in mind. Again, Filevine is always making edits or updates to their AI functionality. This sidebar is a fairly recent, at least to the full functionality that it's providing now, is a newer release. So it's not to say that it might not come later down the line, but as of right now, it's documents only.
Um, I think that's pretty much it for kind of the demo portion of this. I do want to pull up this link here. Filevine has this on their page. This is with regard to chat with your case. It has a bunch of different prompts that you can try. So I will paste this in the chat. I think I pasted my other one.
Yeah, I will make sure that it gets to everyone. Okay, perfect. You got it to
Okay,
everyone.
I fixed it. Okay. Yeah, so here's a good spot to just kind of get some ideas and thoughts um as to how to prompt. Again, the biggest question I get amongst my clients is, there's no buy-in, no one knows how to use it. The only one they really use is AI Fields because they can upload a document and it does it for them, or AI Doc Review because it also expands on that. Um, you guys bought this whole suite of AI tools. I think the way to get buy-in is really just to solve the problems that they're dealing with every day. For example, I was a paralegal. I'm constantly trying to figure out what medical records are outstanding. So a prompt that would help me would be what records are outstanding and where can I do that at? Well, somebody can go in and they can create a prompt that is shared amongst a team with an AI doc review. They can share that prompt amongst everybody. So now people aren't manually have to think, what the heck do I type in this thing? It could just be a prompt that already lives there. So I think that's really the way to kind of get buy-in. We want to help people's jobs. We want to help make their jobs easier. And AI could be very stressful of an idea for people to wrap their heads around. Um, but as you can see, there are a lot of kind of great outputs that it does provide.
There's another question that came through. For the generated med chronology, when reviewing the AI results, there's a list of categories, dates of service, facility, etc. If they edit the name of the category title before the colon, will it still work properly? For example, if I put chief complaint colon and I change it to list of complaints colon, will that mess anything up? What if I take out categories entirely?
That's a great question. So let's experiment. So let's go to my medical chronology output, and let's do the exact example. So for example, chief complaint, if we change it to list of complaints, and then click save, and then go to my AI data map. So on the like after output side, it wouldn't kind of change anything because when you upload that document, it automatically gives you that output, and that's the field that comes through is that chief complaint. So editing within that text field wouldn't change it. However, on the back end, when you're adding these fields, if you want the field to be a different name, you can change the name of the category field. It's a little bit more of a complex answer, be kind of built out on the back end more so. Um, but because your automatic output within here is going to default to that chief complaint, it's going to automatically map to that chief complaint within the AI data map. More so of a complex answer, I think your answer lies on the back end.
Kendall, do you have time to show kind of just what it looks like on the back end? Filevine should be kind of helping implement this. If you're working with an implementation partner, they can also kind of discuss this with you. But the medical chronology is a separate section. It's added in differently than the rest of the sections that you would add in customs editor. So there are some nuances, which is kind of what Kendall was talking about there. But she'll kind of walk through it.
Perfect. So, when I want to add my AI data map, the first thing you have to do is create a blank section, a blank collection section. So I personally, I just went in, I was going to copy this, pretend like I'm going to create a section. So create section, paste that. Let's do one. Medcron. Let me just delete this part. AI data map. Then down here, you're going to click custom and then make it a collection section. So then I'd click save. That's the first thing you want to do. You are not building out anything else out further than that. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to that upload field. So I'm uploading my records. And you'll see it says enable AI fields, which is not what we're talking about. We're talking about AI data mapping. So you would toggle on use data mapping. We want the prompt of medical chronology. And then it's asking which section you want it to map to, which is that section we just created. Once you do that, it's going to give you, as you saw before, all of those, everything before the colon, then it makes them as their own fields. So if we went to chief complaint, well, that's not what I wanted. Let's do auto link. Um, There is a way, I'm clicking the wrong thing right now, but there is, when you first add this, you can change the name of the field if you wanted to. So if you change the name of the field from chief complaint to list of complaints, you could link it, you can auto link it to that field.
You'd have to create that field so that Filevine
That's
has a
that's
poll.
yes.
And then you're able to connect it in there to change, to override that default name. But
So
again, you all shouldn't really ever have to, like, you might make some adjustments back here, but when you're setting it up, Filevine or whoever implements it for you should be able to help you set that up in the way that you want.
I'd also say too, I think it complicates kind of you know, the upload and then it kind of ha having the AI to be data mapped. Um, you know, it automatically gives you these fields for it automatically to create. I think it's if you want simplicity, stick with this. If you want to like adjust those fields to be what you want the names to be, um, then definitely go in and edit it. But to Jasmine's point, either Filevine would help you guys out with this, or if you worked with one of the partners, specifically us, we could go in and help you with that. Great questions. So I think my kind of hope and my goal really is Filevine's AI features are amazing. They're evolving, they're growing, they're constantly being updated, which is the beauty of AI in general and Filevine in general. And instead of being scared of it, use it to your advantage. But also kind of know that there might not be buy-in on your team because people don't know where to start. They don't know how to make their jobs easier because they know what they know. So I'd really invite you to, if you have somebody on your team who's just really interested in helping out the team or who's wanting to experiment with it for AI doc review, go in and create those prompts that might work specifically for you and your team. Have a starting point for people to start at in order for that AI to work for them specifically. That doesn't necessarily work in chat with your case. Like there's no kind of place to store prompts there. Um, but what you can do is you can have like a running thread of prompts that might have worked for you. Um, and maybe have those saved somewhere within your file monitor. Have them saved somewhere within your org if you want people to start using it. But I'd also really encourage you just to play with it, see what it can do, see what it can't do, and ask those kind of, reverse engineering questions of what can you answer, what can't you answer. Oh, here's literally a list of all the questions that you can answer. Copy and paste one of those and see what the output is. All the questions that you're asking yourself in your day-to-day, paste that question or type that question out and chat with your case and see kind of what result you get. Be specific about what you want. Don't say, what can this do? Or what can I get out of this document? List in bullet point form what um, tasks need to be completed after reviewing this document or something. It specifies what you want, right? Um, yeah, that's really my best advice. And I think if you play with it, you'll get better and just get more reps in.
I would maybe suggest, Kendall, you can correct me if I'm wrong because you play with the AI way more than I do. But if you all utilize something like an admin project, right? Something that has internal resources, when you're asking the AI questions like, hey, what questions can you ask? Where do I start? Those might be really helpful to add to something like an admin project. That way, for folks that are a little bit slower to adapt, you're giving them a head start. You're like, hey, this is what's worked for me. These are questions that I've been able to ask it that, reveal some really great answers. You can add those to something like this. Again, a resource template that folks can go in and then utilize. Again, copy and paste for whichever project that they're in to kind of get that info. And then for the sidebar AI, you can always resolve those items. So if you're like, I am running the AI a ton. I don't want to have to see all of these things and scroll for which one I'm looking for. Resolve it. It will come off of this active list and go into a resolved kind of tab. I don't know how long it stays in resolved. I think that there is a limit to how long it will stay in there, and I think it's around 30 days, but don't quote me on that. But again, great options for sharing out some of that wealth of knowledge that Kendall was talking about.
Yeah, I also don't know how long they kind of stay in that resolve. Jasmine's point, yes, resolve those active ones. This is a lot of chats, a lot of chats. And like I said, every time you open that sidebar, it's going to give you a new chat option for a different project. So definitely clean it up, make sure it's kind of organized. And also with regard to naming conventions, maybe naming one that says prompts that worked or something. Um, could be helpful as well. And maybe within the team chat element, I know we didn't talk about this too much because it's not really related to AI, but there is a team chat. So maybe, across the paralegals on the team, hey, here's a prompt that worked for me, um, or something like that. So definitely some cool features within here. Again, the task feature I think is super underused, but I think is super helpful. Um, but just play with it.
Awesome. I don't see any other questions. Kendall, thank you so much for all of your knowledge. Um, and sorry, my camera was off. My computer was going very slow when you started sharing your screen. Um, but thank you again for all of your knowledge. Hopefully, you all learned something. If you're like, hey, I would love to get some coaching or just brainstorming around how I can utilize AI, what the best kind of functionality, or really anything Filevine or Filevine related, feel free to reach out to us. Again, I put my email and Kendall's email in the chat. It's our first names at vineskills.com. So you can reach out to us if you have any questions. This recording will be up on our website. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, share out with the rest of your kind of team so that they learn a little bit more about AI. And again, if you need any of our services, feel free to reach out. We hope to see you in a future free help session. And thanks for joining today.
Thank
Have
you.
a
Bye.
bye-bye.